The first sound I heard that morning wasn't birds or traffic. It was metal ripping against wood like someone trying to pry a flagpole out of the ground. I yanked open the blinds, still half asleep, and there she was. Evelyn Price, the self-appointed queen of our HOA in a faded robe and slippers yanking on the aluminum antenna I had bolted beside my garage. She pulled so hard the hinge snapped and she toppled backward into my flower bed. She climbed up dirt smeared across her robe holding the antenna like a trophy and declared with a grin, "You should thank me." The neighborhood looks decent again. That's when I knew. This wasn't just a petty HOA squabble. This was going to explode. I didn't storm outside, didn't yell. Instead, I grabbed my phone and snapped a dozen photos through the blinds. Evelyn had no clue she was starring in her own evidence reel. When I finally walked out hands in pockets, she planted the antenna in my driveway like a war banner. The board voted she barked that thing violates Code 14C. Telecommunications equipment illegal. I'm just enforcing the rules. I tilted my head, calm, dripping sarcasm. Evelyn, you just trespassed and vandalized my property. Congratulations. She puffed up, cheeks flushed. That contraption could be spying on us. For all we know, you're listening to our calls. She didn't understand how antennas worked, didn't care. In her world, mystery equaled menace, and menace had to be destroyed. By noon, she'd already taped a shrill community bulletin to every mailbox. Her handwriting, not official print, but signed at the bottom, Evelyn Price, HOA President. It warned of unauthorized surveillance equipment and urged neighbors to report anything suspicious. Half the cul-de-sac rolled their eyes, the other half whispered nervously. My phone buzzed with texts. Did she really rip it down? You should call the cops. But I didn't. Not yet. I sent the photos to my attorney, then sat down with coffee. Let her dig her own grave. That evening, black SUVs rolled into our street. Broad grills, tinted windows, badges flashing. Evelyn, froze antenna still clutched in her hand, neighbors whispering from porches. An agent stepped forward. Voice calm. "Ma'am, we need to speak with you about that equipment." Evelyn's bravado cracked. She stammered something about neighborhood property enforcement. They didn't blink. "That's federal property you're holding. Please put it down." She dropped the antenna like it burned her. The look she gave me, like I'd orchestrated the whole sting, was priceless. For a moment, I thought maybe that would shut her down. Maybe the FBI showing up in her driveway would be enough. But Evelyn never folded. She doubled down. She called hotlines, filed wild reports. One said I was broadcasting coded messages to foreign governments, another that I was intercepting emergency calls. Each lie triggered more scrutiny of her. And soon enough, the agents weren't knocking on my door anymore. They were back at hers, firm voices, neighbors watching as Evelyn shrieked about conspiracies and spies. Still, I wasn't immune. Her smear campaign spread. Flyers appeared sloppy fonts my house sketched like an enemy outpost. Citations with fake seals slid into mailboxes demanding fines payable to the HOA. My sprinkler system was tampered with, my breaker box pried open, my packages vanished. And I'll admit there was a night I sat alone in my kitchen staring at the wreck of my antenna and wondering if it was worth it. Maybe I should just take it down. Maybe it was my fault for bringing attention. I felt powerless, cornered in my own home, like the neighborhood had turned into a stage for Evelyn's crusade. But then I looked at the folder of photos, timestamps, reports, all the evidence I'd been quietly collecting. That was my turning point. If Evelyn wanted war, fine. But I wasn't going to scream louder. I was going to play smarter. I shared a recording of her raving at a board meeting. Neighbors heard her paranoia unfiltered. Laughter spread. Trust cracked. By the time she tried to pass an amendment to give herself power to tear down anything unaesthetic, it was crushed 21-3. Evelyn fumed her papers, shaking as neighbors walked out muttering. She retaliated the only way she knew how, bigger, louder, wilder. Midnight flyers. Robocalls blasting. If you see something, say something, or you're complicit. Then, loudspeakers from her house warbled voice screaming, "The traitor lives among you." Spotlights swung across the cul-de-sac, locking onto my house like I was a fugitive. Children cried. Neighbors panicked. And me, I stepped onto my porch, arms folded, staring straight into her beam. That's when the SUVs came. 3 of them this time, engines, lowlights flashing, blocking every exit. Agents poured out calm, deliberate. Evelyn burst from her front door, hair wild, screaming into a walkie-talkie, "You can't take me! This is my community, my rules. Arrest him. He's the spy." The lead agent's voice was steady, cutting through the chaos. "Ma'am, step away from the equipment. You are under investigation for obstruction, harassment, and distribution of fraudulent documents." She laughed a sharp, unhinged cackle and darted back inside. Neighbors froze. We listened to the shouts, the crash of something metallic, then silence. Minutes later, agents emerged, escorting her firmly by the arms. No cuffs, no dramatics, just the quiet collapse of someone who thought she could rule a cul-de-sac like an empire. Evelyn's eyes scanned the crowd, wild, desperate. "You'll regret this. The truth will come out," but no one answered. Pam wept. Gerald looked away, and the rest of us just watched as the SUVs swallowed her whole. That was the moment it ended, not with applause, not with celebration, but with silence. The spell was broken. Evelyn had torn down my antenna, tried to tear down my name, and in the end she tore down herself instead. Sometimes you don't have to fight fire with fire. Sometimes you just let someone's lies burn them alive.